Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charleston. Welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, we got a show that we believe is pretty interesting. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, this Dion Sanders story is something that I was kind of late to the party on, and I'll tell you why. I don't really watch football, American football, obviously. And I don't follow a lot of the storylines that take place within the football. I don't really watch any college sports, as I'm talking about basketball and stuff like that. I'm more focused on the NBA and other things that I'm doing. So sometimes some of these things kind of slip through the cracks. But then some of our viewers started saying, hey, what do you think about the Dion Sanders thing? What do you think about the Dion Sanders thing? So I spent some weeks playing catch up, essentially, to understand what's been happening. And I don't have 100% grasp on the story, but from the little that I know, essentially he took over the football program, I believe, of Florida State or Jackson State, which I believe is in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. And he was able to turn it around. He brought a lot of things to that program, and he really enhanced it, and he made it a very, very successful program. I think he was there for about 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, turned it around. And then he got an offer from, I believe, Colorado State, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they were offering him somewhere around $5 million per annum to coach that program or resuscitate that program and really take it to the next level. Then what ended up happening was he decided to move on from Jackson State. And then that created this huge kind of firestorm around him where a lot of people were saying that Dion Sanders took advantage of HBCUs, right? My mom actually went to HBCU in Howard. Actually, a lot of my family members went to an HBCU in Howard University because my grandfather taught there economics. But anyway, so that created this story, right? And a bunch of people came out and gave their 2 cents on it. Some people said he was a sellout. People like Lamar Johnson and others said that. And other people said, no, well, what do you expect? Like Shannon Sharpe said, well, he didn't really say he was going to commit to them forever and all these different things. Then yesterday, an interview dropped, an exclusive interview dropped on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharpe. And it's worth noting that Shannon Sharpe and Dion Sanders have a relationship together. They know each other, obviously. And he gave him an exclusive, right? And he went on there to talk about the criticism that's surrounding him ever since he decided to make that decision. So what we want to do is we want to play some of his direct quotes addressing some of the criticism that have come his way, and then we're going to come back and unpack this thing, and I'll give you guys my take on it. So take a listen to what Dion Sanders had to say here to Shannon Sharpe.
That you did do. When you heard the criticism that was coming, that you were leaving, what went through your mind?
Well, people are hurt. And when people are hurt, oftentimes their first response isn't the response that should be given.
Okay.
They say things out of emotions and anger, but I listen. Because when a person says stuff, that's what they really feel.
Okay.
When they're hurt and out of emotions and anger. And I just thought to myself, if I didn't know who I was and where I headed, and if I didn't know the Lord, I would believe some of those things.
Okay.
But I know me, I know my heart,
Right.
I know my intentions off the rip, and I know God.
Right.
And I know when he speaks. And it's funny that when I first came and I said, God told me to come here, they didn't believe it.
Right.
But if I say, well, God said it's time for me to go, you still don't believe.
Right. But you put a blueprint in place. You left a former member from your staff in place.
Yeah, but they mad because I got the pen. We put a blueprint in place, but I got the pen.
Right.
They say, and they upset that. So now really you're not gonna get the feeling that I gave you.
Right.
Because you felt like I let you down, I walked out. First and foremost, and I haven't disclosed this yet, my AD, Ashley Robinson, when I took the job, he said, I want you to do something for me. I said, what's that? He said, at least give me 2 years. I said, you got it.
Okay. You gave him 3.
It's real talk. That's what we discussed.
Do you, let's just say for the sake of argument, you gave them 5 years and says, okay, I'm leaving. What if you gave them 10 years?
It ain't gonna be enough. Because it's and I understand because it's love.
Right.
you fell in love, and I fell in love too.
Right.
And I felt like we did more than we were expected to do.
Correct.
We just did it so expeditiously that it overwhelmed you and you thought it was easy.
CNN had a segment where they asked, is Dion Sanders a sellout for you leaving an HBCU? People said he sold a dream, then walked out on the dream. You're a con man,
Let me stop you right there.
Okay, go ahead.
What did I sell?
I don't know. I don't recall. Now, I could be wrong. I don't recall you saying you was going to stay for any length of time.
But what was the dream? The dream is that I wanted equality.
Right.
The dream that was I wanted these kids to get the notoriety and get to the NFL. We did that.
Right.
The dream that we want better facilities and we're overlooked and underfunded. I've established that. And we made strides towards that.
Okay.
The dream was that I believe that we could win. I could believe that we could graduate at a certain rate. I believe that we could treat these kids and raise them to be young men. That was the dream. Why did you stop dreaming? I ain't.
Right.
So you heard what he had to say there. This is just me looking at this situation from afar. I don't have an emotional connection to it. I know some people do. And it's important to say this as well. This thing is going to hit home differently for various people based on their connection to, for example, HBCUs. There's some people that work in HBCUs and some people that are affiliated. There's some people that donate. And for them, they're going to have a stronger visceral reaction to this story. There's some people that are just maybe following this story from afar, like myself, and just kind of trying to understand the facts of it. To me, here's my thoughts on this. I know there's some people that are saying that, well, he's moving on to a bigger opportunity where he feels he can do more good. And as he said, he left the blueprint for someone else to come behind him and kind of take that thing to the next level. There's some that are saying that he used that opportunity, that platform, that HBCU, to put himself in the position to springboard him into another, to a bigger program. And therefore, he took advantage of that particular system there. I think it's important to say this, that, no two people are the same. And even though you may view a particular thing one way, it doesn't mean that that other person may view it the same way you view it. To me, I believe that, and based on from what I've read and heard, I believe that he did some positive things for Jackson State while he was there. So I don't like the fact that some people are now criticizing him for leaving and then just kind of acting like as if he didn't do all of those things. And I'll give you guys a practical application of what I'm talking about here, and I'll relate it to some things that have happened in my life. I have a cousin, right? I'm not going to mention his name. And he was in charge of doing something, a family endeavor. An errand, excuse me. And he was in charge of kind of putting people together, getting some of our cousins together to do something, right? And he was supposed to actually fundraise from all of these various different entities. And he was doing it, and he was doing a good job. And I actually told him, I said, don't involve me because I don't want that stress. I don't want to be the one running around trying to fundraise for this particular thing we're trying to fundraise for. Good. So he's doing all of these things, contacting all of these different people, doing X, Y, and Z, da-da-da-da-da-da. And the process of that, one person said they would give a donation. And the donation, I guess, would be considered small. So he said in the chat that, hey, listen, just keep your money and whatever. Then what happened? People started saying that was wrong for him to say that. It was very disrespectful of him and this and this and this. And he shouldn't have said that. Here's the angle I looked at it from. The angle I looked at it from was, why are we only focusing on the one thing the guy did wrong? Why don't we spend more time focusing on all the things that he did right? And I think this is a problem that people have in general. We only want to jump on people when they do wrong. But when they're doing right, nobody's standing up and clapping for them and saying, hey, you're doing a good job. Hey, congratulations, good job. Or when they do wrong, they don't factor in the fact that that person was also doing a lot of things good. They just want to hold on to the wrong. And you can miss me with that. You can miss me with that. If you're going to highlight a negative action that someone took, please, as you're weighing your decision, factor in the good that the person has done as well. Don't just look at the bad. And that was my issue with that situation there. That's why I was like, I don't agree with any of this. Did he do something wrong? Yes. But the way the criticism is falling on his head, y'all acting like as if this is some bad person, like as if he's not the one running around here doing all of this work. I don't like that. I don't like that because it looks like as if you're waiting for somebody to F up. And the minute they F up, that's when all of a sudden you want to stand up and talk about how terrible they are as a person. Some people disagree with me. That's their bloody business. I could care less. That's your opinion. You keep it in your pocket. I'm not telling you to feel the way I feel, but I'm not going to feel the way you feel just because you feel that way. And what makes you think that your opinion is right on it? So back to the Deion Sanders situation. Dion believes he's doing what's best for him, and he's doing things the best way that he thinks is going to push his agenda forward. That's him. Now, some people may disagree with him, and I think it's your 100% right to disagree with him. There's some people that are going to support him, and I think it's your 100% right to support him. However, where you lose me is where now we get into this thing of he's this, he's that, he's this, he's this, he's this. Because if he's all of these things, did you feel that way about him when he was turning that program around? If the answer is no, then maybe you need to stop being so critical of people and stop acting so self-righteous, like as if you don't do wrong. Because all of us can be criticized for one thing or the other. For one thing or the other. You have parents that piss you off. I'm sure a lot of you do. But something is wrong with you if you can only notice the things that they do wrong and you never notice the things that they do right. That can be for your parent. That can be for your girlfriend. That could be for your boyfriend. That could be for your husband. That could be for your wife. That could be for your friend. Don't just be hypercritical and be ready to jump on somebody when they do something wrong. But when they do something right, you're not praising them. That's my opinion. Some people disagree, agree, whatever. This is just my take on it. This story doesn't really resonate with me to that level. So I'm not gaining anything from it, but I'm just giving you guys my take. So these are my thoughts and opinions. What I want to know from you guys, what do you think about what Deion Sanders had to say? What do you think about what I had to say? If you agree or disagree, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.